All right. Well, hello, friends. Tony Howard here with Astrology University, and I am here to tell you a little bit about our four-year astrology training program. We just opened up bundle registration for the year, which we open up about once a year. Before I get started telling you a little bit about the program and about that bundle registration offer, I'm just going to double check here on YouTube that the stream is working and my volume is coming through. So bear with me one moment while I check that out, and then we'll be off and running. If you're able to hear me right now and you're already tuned in, I will be able to see your questions. And if you have any questions for me today, you can just pop them in the chat window and I will see them, and you can ask me anything that you would like about the program. Okay, it looks like we're in business. Oh, thanks, Wendy. So we're back and the sound is great. I really appreciate you, Wendy. I just tried starting live stream and the audio wasn't working, and Wendy was out there helping me out. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, back in business. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our four-year astrologer training program. This program is for you if you have been interested in deepening your astrological studies. Maybe you'd like to learn how to analyze your own chart a little bit better, or you want to be able to look at the charts of friends or family or famous folks that you come across, or just analyze events as they kind of unfold in the world. Our program will help you take that deep dive. It's also, of course, designed to help train those of you who are aspiring to become professional astrologers yourself. So that's who we created the program for. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about how the program works and this special annual offer that we do. And I'll talk to you, share a little bit of positive feedback that we've received from students over the years who've been participating in the program. As I was just saying earlier, if you are tuning in to us live just now, you can also use the chat window on YouTube Live to ask me any questions that you have about the program. And if you're watching this video after I finish the recording, you can ask any of your questions by emailing us at help@astrologyuniversity.com. Also, just want to say, as we're opening up registration for the program right now with this special offer, we do offer open enrollment throughout the year. And if you have any questions about whether this program is right for you, email our support team and they can help you schedule a time with me for a free advising session where I'm happy to talk through with you to find out if this program is right for you. I know a lot of you out there have been studying astrology for some time. Maybe you've dabbled in a couple of courses here and there. Maybe you've read just enough books to be dangerous, but feel utterly confused. I've been there. I'm happy to talk out with you if you might, if I think you might, our program's a good fit for you, for one, but also if I think you should start from the beginning, or if you might be able to drop in somewhere midstream in the program. Happy to chat those things out with you anytime. But let me tell you a little bit more about the program. Like I said, it's created for those who want to take a deeper dive into astrology or aspiring professional astrologers. And we also created this program with in conjunction with several master level astrologers. I developed the curriculum a few years ago in conversation with some master level astrologers who also had their own astrology schools, like Karen Hammacher Sontag. Her school is only offered in Dutch, so if you speak Dutch, well, you're in luck. You have access to a really great program, but her school is not in English. But she's been teaching astrology since 1975 and has given me much really great advice about the curriculum. Also talked with Brian Clark, Demetra George, and several other great astrologers who've contributed to this, helping me develop this amazing curriculum that students just love so much. And we launched the program after developing it for a couple of years. And we've had students who are just entering into year 4 now. And I'm going to share a little bit of their feedback with you today. But some of the things that they've shared that they really love about this program include access to a diverse set of astrologers and trainings and different astrological points of view and schools of thought. So, and my intention with that is that you learn how to think critically and find your own voice in astrology. So we'll give you access to some of the major teachings in astrology that are being practiced by modern astrologers today. And then you'll get to find your place and your own voice. And in some cases, you'll you'll probably follow a stream of astrological thought that you're most inspired by a little bit deeper, either during or after our program. Our job is to introduce you to a core set of fundamentals so that you can start doing readings with folks, you can start analyzing charts on your own, and then you can add to that knowledge as you go. And most of us out there just continue to study as we go and until the end, because there's always so much more to learn with astrology. And there's even more ancient teachings to learn from as well. One of our teachers includes Demetra George, who's kind of a master astrologer who's gotten very interested in some traditional texts that have only been translated in recent years. And she's an excellent vehicle for transmitting that information, beloved by students everywhere. She's such a great and clear teacher, which, by the way, all of our teachers are chosen, hand-selected, because they either have had very successful consulting practices themselves, or they're really great teachers, and in most cases both, and they have a lot to offer students. And so you'll get exposed to a variety of schools of thought, including this traditional stream, which comes through Demetra George, and also through Kelly Surtees, who I think of as like a modern traditionalist who's weaving in traditional techniques into modern psychological practice. She's a licensed therapist as well, and has been counseling clients successfully for many years, and she weaves in a traditional toolkit into her work and conveys it through a modern framework. So really wonderful approach there. Demetra did the same in her practice for many years. She's no longer consulting individually, but consulted for many, many years in individuals in astrology. You might also know Demetra for her work with the asteroids and her groundbreaking work, Asteroid Goddesses, and then eventually she became enamored with some of these, like I said, traditional teachings that were coming through texts that were being translated that we didn't have access to for hundreds of years. Pretty exciting stuff. Demetra is an amazing scholar and historian, and so she also teaches our history class when we get to year 3. But I digress. Let me back up and tell you a little bit about the structure of the program. We have 4 years in the program, and each year there are 9 courses that make up that year's worth of study. We give you a little bit of break in the wintertime, right at the end of December, beginning of January, wintertime in the northern hemisphere anyway, summertime in Australia. And so you get your summer/winter break, and then we get another summer/winter break around the months of July and August. We start courses again in mid-August. You also get 1 week in between each course when we don't have those longer breaks. Each course is made up of at least 4 lessons. It's designed to be taught over 4 weeks and comes with 3 to 4 live Q&A sessions where you can ask any question that you like. You get access to a lot of the teachers who teach material in our program. For instance, you might be reading Brian Clark's book about relationship astrology, and that weekend get to ask him questions about something you read in the book. So really unique opportunity to get guidance from and access to some of these really great, inspiring astrology teachers. It's one of the things students say they love about our program is that access to a diverse set of ideologies. And also guidance and support as you move through the program. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of us study astrology independently. You're just reading books on your own or watching videos. We have access to a lot more online education these days, but a lot of it still is self-study, and our program's a little bit different in that you get to ask questions in real time as you move through the material. We have discussion areas in each of the courses where you can ask your questions. And then, like I said, there are also these live Q&A sessions that you'll have access to as you're moving through the material. If you're joining a course right after we've recorded a live session, you'll get to watch those recorded live Q&A videos. In most cases, another student will have asked the same questions you have. But just in case we didn't cover your question, like I said, there's a discussion area in the course where you can still ask your questions in real time. This is really important as you're studying astrology, because a lot of times when you're studying on your own, you're reading a book and you're like, that doesn't really make sense, or I don't understand what that author was saying, or didn't totally grasp that concept. And all you have to do is pop into the discussion area in the course portal and ask your question, and we'll do our best to help you find an answer. So you get real-time support in our program, which again is one of the things that makes our program unique. And we do our best to offer as much access to support as we're able to. That comes in the form of getting your questions answered through the discussion portal and in Q&A sessions. And we have teaching assistants that will be there to help give you feedback on homework assignments. So every course has homework assignments and reading assignments each week. So you'll do a little bit of reading, you'll watch a video, and then you'll do some homework, you'll get some feedback, and then you'll keep repeating that process over and over. And this process has been proven to help students retain the information as they go, while helping you develop your own voice. So our homework assignments are really designed to help you find your own voice in astrology, but also be able to communicate astrology in a way that's empowering, that's inspiring for others. So let me just backtrack a little bit more and go back to talking about the different styles of astrology that you'll get access to in our program. Our program is structured mostly around a modern psychological kind of astrology, but within that context, you're also going to get access to, like I said, some traditional astrology that is mainly coming through the Hellenistic thread. If you're familiar with that, there are some different threads of astrology these days that we're calling traditional. There's medieval, Renaissance astrology, there's Hellenistic. Sometimes when people say traditional, they're actually just referring to a specific kind of style of doing astrology. Some people think traditional astrology is always deterministic. That doesn't have to be the case. You don't have to use those tools in that way. And in our program, we encourage you not to. So that's one. If you even understand that little bit of the conversation, that's the side that we're kind of on. But we do give students access to that toolkit through wonderful teacher, Dimitri George. You'll also get access to evolutionary astrology concepts coming through Stephen Forrest and through Mark Jones. And Mark Jones's work has kind of evolved into something he's calling transformational astrology. In his approach to astrology, he's intending to help clients transform their lives for the better. Becoming a common thread among all our teachers and all of our other folks, all of the astrologers in our program, is the intention to help others, right? So we're teaching students how to have an actively engaged healing conversation with others that'll help them improve their lives and feel a greater sense of empowerment and ability to make choices while using this amazing set of tools. Let's see, where can I go next? Why don't I read a little testimonial about the program? This is coming from Beth Scannell, who wrote, "I don't know anywhere else that you can be exposed to such a wide variety of material and techniques and with such a high level of quality." Beth, if you're listening out there, thank you so much. Beth is one of our first students in the program. She's doing really great work. By the way, I'm so impressed with the quality of work our students are creating, and I cannot wait for them to enter the field professionally. Some of them already have. Some of our Rockstar students started working with clients even after the first year. We recommend going through the whole program, but some students come in with such a level of mastery, or maybe having done some previous level of study, that our program just helps them develop the confidence they need to get out there and start working with people. And that will ramp up your abilities in a way that nothing else can. So, but for those of you who want to take a little bit more time to really develop that confidence from the inside out, our program is also designed for that, to help you build confidence and find your own voice, so that you do feel ready, that when you go out there, you feel ready. I've had students contact us before I created this program who said things to me like, "I've been studying astrology for 20 years and I still don't know where to start doing a chart reading." Students like that tend to get up and running really quickly after that first year of study, because again, it's about developing the confidence. It's not that they don't have the information, it's just that they haven't figured out haven't chosen how to structure it, and like with that student, figure out where to start, but also how to convey the information to people. Also, sometimes it's just a matter of facing some fears about being engaged in that dynamic conversation and kind of afraid of what could happen and not wanting to kind of be the deer stuck in the headlights, unable to answer a question. So we talk through issues like that in the program to help you feel more confident, but just be ready to approach healing consultations. Another piece of feedback here from a student that wanted to be a little bit more anonymous, so we're using their initials, BF. I'm having such a great time with all the lectures, Q&As, and readings. My gut told me just do this, and now that I'm doing it, it's even better than I'd hoped. Your approach of teaching how to empower clients through a combination of knowledge, skilled questions, conversation, and mutual exploring to develop personalized power tools of insight that live in their consciousness rather than offering deterministic statements and shoulds. I've been seeking and trying to develop exactly that approach to working with clients astrologically for a couple of decades. So this is coming from a student who was in that boat, who had lots of knowledge swimming around and just needed a little bit of extra support crafting it and putting it together. Yay, I'm so delighted and encouraged to be participating in this mutually empowering, co-evolving entity, Astrology University. Thank you so much, BF, for that, and really appreciate you, and hope you enjoy your next year of studies if you're listening to this. Let me see if I'm just going to check in to see. Hello, morning from Australia. Hey, PETA, and Wendy asked, does the program include sessions on marketing and business entrepreneurship? Actually, we do, Wendy, but not until year 4, although we are teaching year 4 this year. So if you're already kind of up to speed and just need that course, you'll be able to register for it this year. By the way, you can register for courses a la carte, so you don't have to commit to doing all of the courses in the 4-year program to drop into one of our courses. If you're not sure if you have kind of the prerequisites met, you can write us and ask, but you get lifetime access to all of our courses once you register. So if you register for something that's over your head, you can always backtrack and fill in the gaps by looking at our curriculum page and looking at what came before and adding what you think you missed along the way to get there. And then you'll still have access to that course that you felt over your head. And, with that said, I think it's okay actually to jump in that way and to feel over your head, because that feeling will actually help you apply yourself a little bit more and stretch yourself. If you get into a class and you feel like, I know this, well, you probably haven't learned much. So you should feel a little bit uncomfortable as you're learning. That's part of the process. But that said, you could jump into our aspect pattern course, for instance, way before you should. For instance, you should feel like you have a little bit of, if not mastery, deep understanding of aspects before you take a class on aspect patterns, which is basically looking at maybe 2 or 3 different aspects coming together to form a pattern. So you have to have the building blocks. And then before you get to aspects, you need to understand how to put a planet in a sign in a house and say something about that. So our program is, again, structured in a way that makes sense, that where the information builds as it goes and students feel a little bit more comfortable wrangling the information, so that by the time you get to the aspects class, our students don't feel overwhelmed by it like some students do when they just jump into that class a little too soon. So Wendy, our program on marketing and business skills, we're going to talk about blogging and writing. We're going to talk a little bit about doing astrology on social media, because there's more than one way to work in astrology professionally. Most of us are going to focus on the one-on-one consultation, but some of us are going to be a little bit more interested in research, for instance, or analysis, or maybe we just have really great writing skills and we feel really comfortable with the pen, or I guess the keyboard, and not as comfortable sitting in front of a person. And you can actually create a business with whatever skills or interests you have with astrology. And so we'll talk about that as well. You're also going to get access in year 4 to a course, Wendy, on counseling dynamics, where you're going to hear from 4 to 5 different astrologers who've had very successful consulting practices, like full-time seeing people, 5 days a week for 20 years, for instance. And they're going to share some tips and tools and advice. And in that course, I asked them to think about what they might say to a young person who's just starting their consulting practice. Or not necessarily a young person, but maybe a person new to astrology. Because I'll just say this too, we have a wide range of ages in our program. So we have astrologers who are in their early 20s. Some of them who have just been rocking it, have been so impressed. And we have astrologers who are folks in our program who are in their 70s and are just deepening their studies, or maybe they're in that boat where they've been studying for about 20 years. They've just retired from a day job of some sort, and they're ready to do something that they feel is more meaningful, or to give a little bit more life to this work that they've considered a hobby for many years, and they're ready to turn it into something a little bit more meaningful, and maybe start doing consultations from there. If you're in that boat, if you're that kind of older person who's been studying astrology for a while and you're kind of interested in doing consults, but you're on the fence, maybe you're just coming into retirement and you're ready, I highly encourage you to pursue this work, because that wisdom that comes with age and lived experience is so valuable when you're sitting with people. Now, if you're a young person in your 20s, I'm not going to discourage you in the least from pursuing a consulting practice, because there are certain gifts that you have as well, and perspective that you have to offer that's also very important. But if you are that older person, that lived experience and that life experience is very, very valuable. But you can enter this practice from any age, really, and have something to offer other folks. All right. Thanks, Wendy. Appreciate that. All right. If anybody out there has any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat window. Happy to answer them. By the way, if you are listening to this video and you have a question that doesn't get answered, we have an open house session that's going to be a lot like what I'm doing right now in next week. Let's see, today's the 13th, so I believe it's on the 20th. August 20th, 2022. I'm recording this video on August 13th, 2022. That's a free event, and we only have room for 100 people. So if you're interested in the program and want to ask me some questions directly, highly encourage you to sign up for that. You can find that event on our event page, astrologyuniversity.com/events. Let me take a quick testimonial break for you, and then I'll tell you a little bit from answer a frequently asked question or two, and then we'll sign off for today. This is coming from Sarah D., who says, among several 1- and 2-year astrology programs I've studied in, Astrology University's 4-year certification program is, in my view, the absolute best. The courses are also taught with great heartful care. Tony and the other teachers create an online environment in which a very diverse group of students, by age, ethnicity, geographic location, feel comfortable asking questions and sharing knowledge of our own charts. With numerous teachers, we're learning many different takes on astrological issues, yet there's a coherent, reliable set of values here. Astrology at its best is kind and helpful. We also have a lot of fun. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. That really touches my heart, and really appreciate having you in the program if you happen to be listening to this. Sarah mentioned certification, so let me tell you a little bit about that. We do have a diploma and a certification that we offer. So diploma is something that you get if you take all of the courses in our 4-year program. You meet all the requirements, basically. You passed all the courses. And then there's a diploma that you can get at the end of completing all those requirements. Then we also offer certification, which is an extra step where you're basically going to do some sample work for us and get evaluation, and then we'll certify you in our approach to astrology. Right now, we only offer certification to students who participate in the program. I'm not sure if that'll change in the future, but that's as of the recording of this video, that's the case. But should you pursue certification? If you are starting out your astrological studies from scratch, my answer might be a little bit different than if you've been studying for a while. But I do want to say this and be very honest about this with anybody who asks me. It's a common belief that certification will help improve your chances professionally. And I'm sorry to say that's not the case. And the reason is, there's no one central certification governing body in astrology that everybody respects. And by everybody, let's just say everybody in one community, even whether that's a city or a state or a country. There are governing bodies out there that offer certifications. There are schools that offer certifications. There are individuals that offer certifications in a particular method. But most clients, if you're looking to do one-on-one consulting, most clients don't know anything about any of those certifications. So you can put any kind of letters or certification after your name, and that's not going to be meaningful to them. So it's not going to make or break your consulting practice. It won't help you get more clients. So why should you pursue certification? Well, one of the reasons is a lot of us need a dangling carrot for motivation. And certification, where there's like a set of criteria that you need to complete before you get certification, it'll help a lot of us do the work that we need to to um, to do a great job with our studies, to put in that extra level of effort. If we don't have something like that to work towards, we'll often, slack off on this assignment or that homework or that book or that reading or that course. And then we have this gap in our education. So if that's you, and you'll probably know if that's you, then certification is a great thing to pursue, and that's one of the reasons why we offer it. I'm personally the rare person who's really great at self study. It's more rare for people to be self motivated like that. I actually went to a high school where we were just given the assignments and we're sitting at our desk kind of self-study alone, and there's an instructor there that we could ask questions for. Now that I'm saying that out loud, that's probably one of the reasons why I structured the program in the way that I did, because you can have that experience in our program too, where you have access to questions to someone to ask questions of when you need it, but otherwise you're kind of on your own. Whereas we have kind of both structures built into our program, but it's more rare to be that self-motivated. And so that, again, that certification or just the diploma to work toward can give you that motivation to put in the extra work to deepen your studies. But again, you don't need certification. One other thing I want to say about certification, and I'll probably wrap up here for today because I could just talk your ear off, and this video has probably already been really long. I got a question here from Dion. So let me answer this one, and I'll come back to what I was going to say about certification and our courses and how that works. How many hours a week would one need to devote to study to successfully pass the program? Our courses are designed so that each course or each week will take you 6 to 10 hours. And they're essentially, you can think of it this way, 4 weeks in each program or in each class, and then 9 classes per year. Now, if you're working on your own at your own pace, and you're not trying to keep up with a live cohort that's working through the material together, you can take as long as you need. I have a student who just finished year 1, and it took her 2 years to get through because she's got a day job and kids and a lot going on, and it just took her that long. But she was methodical, and she had a certain amount of time to devote each week, and she just kind of did the work. But if you can kind of allocate 6 to 10 hours per week for each lesson in the course. Now, we do offer supplemental reading. It's kind of extra additional reading that you can do if you would like. We highly encourage it, but you don't have to do it in order to kind of get through each course. If you do that extra reading and the extra work there, that can take you up into the 15-hour-a-week zone. Not all courses will come with that amount of reading. Some courses will have a little bit higher of a reading load and some a little bit lower. And a couple of the courses don't have any reading because they're just experiential. I hope that helps, Dion. So basically, that's the amount of time, but you can take as long as you need to work through the program. Let me say a little bit about the live cohort for you, because I mentioned that. So right now we have bundle registration open, which we open once a year. We do this on purpose in this way because it inspires people to sign up together at the same time, and it creates a cohort of students who are working through the material together. There are a lot of students out there who love that experience because you get to know people who are kind of studying the material at the same time as you. You make new friends, you make lifelong friends, for sure. That's happens every year in our program, because we provide access to the students in 2 ways. There's a WhatsApp group where you can communicate with each other that's totally a student lounge. I don't get in there. It's just private conversations between the students. And we also have a once a month study group for each year of the program. So all the year 1 people have a monthly study group online. It's totally optional. It's not required. But for those of you who like that extra engagement with the students, jump in there, share information about your own charts, talk out things that you're thinking about or inspired by from the class, etc., just like you would in any kind of student lounge or student study group. And so you do get to know the other students in that way. You also get to know the other students through the live Q&A sessions that happen, where there's a lot of students who show up regularly. And we have one really devoted student right now in our second cohort who lives in Europe, and the time zone's a little bit different, and she'll often stay up late at night for just to because she loves the live Q&A experience. You don't have to do that for sure. We offer Q&As at different times for each course to the best of our ability. Sometimes we'll have one instructor who's in, a specific time zone, and they only have the ability to show up at one time on every Sunday. But in most courses, you're going to have like a morning Q&A and an after Q&A option. So if only one of those time zones works for you, you'll at least get access to a little bit of that live experience. Because we do have students in Australia, we have students in Europe, we have students in New Zealand, we have students in South America, we have students in North America and Canada. So we even have some students in China. I think we've had one student from Japan and a couple of students from the Middle East. So we've got a lot of time zones out there that we're trying to reach and meet. Let's see. There was a question here from PETA. What are the considerations for students in different time zones? Yeah, I hope I answered that for you, PETA. Let me know if you have any more questions about that. I will say this. If you have a question and you're not able to attend a live Q&A, maybe you have to work that day or something comes up, you get to submit your questions through the discussion area, and you can, in most cases, we do bring those into the live Q&As, but you can ask specifically, could you answer this one live? Because some students just like that experience of having me or one of the other instructors answer the question in real time. Something I got off track earlier and was thinking about the teaching assistants. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. There are teaching assistants who've been through this specific material before, and they'll be helping give you feedback on your homework in year one. But you'll in the exams, you'll get access to a professional astrologer like myself, or Saffron Rossi, or some of the other instructors in different courses who will be giving you feedback on your exams directly. So you get access to that professional feedback on your work. I like to touch in regularly. Myself, because I like to have a sense of where students are in their studies and make sure that you're kind of getting some of the key philosophical concepts that we teach throughout the program. Things like how to convey information in a way that could be empowering or inspiring to somebody, because there are definitely ways to use astrology for good, and there's ways to convey the information that can scare the pants off people, and we don't want to do that. So we definitely talk about that a lot, and we it's something we incorporate into the program. But for a lot of us, it's something that takes a little time to learn, and so that's one of the things that I jump in and help with. You are very welcome, PETA. Okay, one other thing about certification, then I'll wrap up for today. If you're registering for the courses a la carte and you're not interested in going for the diploma or our certification, you'll still see an option when you register for a course that says audit and certification track. Audit means kind of like probably what you assume. You get access to all the course material, all the reading, all the homework, but you're not turning in any of your work, right? So you don't. Your access isn't limited. You can even attend the live Q&As if the timing is working for you and ask questions live. The only thing you don't get is feedback on your homework and exams. There's about a $50 extra charge for the certification track, and that covers our cost to give you feedback on the homework and exams. And that's the only difference between the two. If you want that feedback, but you don't want to go for certification, you'll still want to register for the certification track. So sometimes that's confusing to folks, so I just want to explain that. What happens a lot of times is people get into one of our courses that they're taking a la carte, they go for the audit-only track, and then they're like, hey, wait a minute, I see what's going on with this feedback thing. Can I get an upgrade and go for the certification track so I can get feedback? And we totally allow that. And all you have to do is ask through the customer support, and they will hook you up. Vice versa, if you're new to our program, again, let's say you've been studying for a while and you want to just jump into one of the later courses in the program, I always encourage people to sign up for a certification track first. If you think you might want some of that feedback, because you can always get the experience of what that's like. And then maybe you feel like, oh yeah, I do feel confident. I'm getting some positive feedback about my work, and I don't need that at this point. And then you can, from there on, you can go on and just do the audit only track. but always good to kind of see what you might be missing first, and then you can scale back from there. Just a little bit pro tip there, because it happens really often that people want to upgrade. So okay, I think that's where I'm going to wrap things up for today. Just want to repeat myself that we have bundle registration. We call it bundle registration because you get 9 courses for the price of 8. We only open this up once a year in mid-July through the end of August. This year we'll wrap up the offer on August 30th, and you just get a little bit of an extra discount. So if you know you're all in, or you're maybe 3/4 of the way all in, especially if you want to start from the beginning and sign up for year 1, you can take advantage of that discount. You'd be signing up for year 2, 3, and 4 on the bundle if you've already done the previous years, probably. So I don't need to tell you folks about this. But if you're new to the program, you'll get 9 courses for the price of 8 for your commitment to take all 9 courses. And you either pay them in a lump sum, where you get that discount right away, or you pay them over the course of 10 payments. The lump sum is $27.97, and the payments are $285 a month for 10 months. So if you're going through all 4 years of the program and you want to kind of plan out your finances, or you just think you might, and you're a planner, then you can kind of plan out 10 months of $285, and then 2 months off, and then 10 months again. And that's how that would work. And then you can kind of time that the day that your payments start, right? So if you know that, for instance, that you want to join the program, but you're not quite ready financially for another week, you could wait a week. You can wait until August 30th, technically, and still get that deal. If you have any questions about that, reach out to our help team. Our courses start up this week, so they start officially on August 17th, and the first live Q&A sessions will be that weekend. But if you're watching this video and joining a little bit late, it's really easy to catch up if you've missed the first couple of weeks. If you end up signing up on August 30th, for instance, you'll have to do a little bit of catch up, but it's totally possible. In fact, it's even possible if you have a lot of time on your hands, and let's say you join us in December and you're taking the courses a la carte. I've had students spend 2 months of really concerted study. Now, this probably only works if you don't have a day job, but you can theoretically work through 4 courses in about 2 months if you really apply yourself, and then catch up to a live cohort. So if you're watching this video after the fact, know that that's possible as well. All right. You might sense that I have a lot of mutability in my chart, so I like to keep things open-ended for people because I like that myself. I like that experience myself. Well, thank you so much for listening today. It has been a pleasure chatting with you. If you have any questions at all, reach out, and I hope to see some of you joining in our program. It's such a wonderful experience, both for me and the students. Heartwarming all around, and we have a really warm community of supporting, loving, spiritual growth, personal growth minded folks. So if you're in that camp, this might be a program that you want to check out. All right, well, that's enough for me for now, and I'll talk to you again next week at our open house, and I'll see you again online very soon. And until then,